Welcome back to American Sunrise on this Monday. We appreciate you being here with us. I'm Terrence Bates. Well, we want to invite you to join the conversation on Getter, Rumble, of course, also YouTube, particularly as we get you into our political pulse of America. Taking the beat today, NBA Commissioner Adam Silver speaking out for the first time after federal indictments rocked his league. Those indictments involved Miami Heat guard Terry Rozier and Portland Trail Blazers coach Chauncey Billups. Silver says that he was deeply disturbed by the allegations against both men.
My initial reaction was I was deeply disturbed. There's nothing more important to the league and its fans than the integrity of the competition. And so I had a pit in my stomach. It was very upsetting.
Rozier and Billups have been placed on administrative leave as the NBA continues to cooperate with authorities. Silver says the league remains committed to protecting the integrity of competition above all else. Joining us now with analysis is Rav Washington correspondent Britt McHenry. Britt, good morning. Good to see you.
Good morning. I love being on the morning show. It's great to be here.
Well, we love having you. So what do you make all of this? By the way, you want to play cards with Chauncey Billups soon?
Oh, I don't want to get arrested, so probably
I'm sorry.
not.
I shouldn't have said that. Shame on me. Go ahead, Britt.
This is a huge deepening scandal. 30 arrests, 6 of which really targeting the NBA that we saw quietly happening. I texted with a friend of mine who's very high up in the FBI saying, they had been secretly working on this very diligently as we witness with this amount of names included, and that's only going to expand from what I'm being told. Now, it's interesting because with Jontay Porter, he was banned, if you know that name, he was banned in April of 2024 for several offenses, banned from the NBA, one of which was recusing himself from games, which is the same thing that Terry Rozier is being accused of, Rozier. So it not only is affecting their future in the NBA, but of course, with their lives. Rozier is expected to be in court in Brooklyn, I believe, on December 8th. And Chauncey Billups on November 24th. Now, for Chauncey Billups, this is probably the biggest name, at least from a casual basketball fans' perspective. He was once the first overall draft pick, a head coach who's now had to have an interim coach step in his place. There's a lot of questions with how involved he was with several entrepreneurs, several mafia members in the bets that they've been placed on these poker games amounting to reportedly $7 million plus, and his decisions in coaching to keep players out and affect the outcomes of the game. That is a huge offense to everyone, legally, to fans, to the betting industry. So a lot of eyes will be on that. As you guys know, that's expanding. Now college athletes next year will be able to legally bet, and this will raise a lot of alarms, as it already has, in what is allowed, what is not. I'm sure you guys could tee off on several former athletes, Pete Rose being one of them, who was banned from baseball for gambling. So this has many tentacles, and we're going to have to watch how that expands.
Britt, I'm Jake Novak. Nice to virtually meet you over the air.
Hi.
I want to turn to President Trump's trip through Asia this week because he's already there. He's in Japan. And we're learning now that the president is working on a trade deal with China. A lot of progress was made over the weekend. Of course, one of the administration's biggest targets when it comes to tariffs is, of course, China. How do you see these negotiations going? Because the way I see it is, look, we know it's not going to be very long term, but I think all the hard stuff has already been kind of taken care of in advance of this meeting on Thursday.
Absolutely. I've spoken to a few contacts, few reporters over there in Japan who said we've just hit the ground running. It's been nonstop coverage with the president, as you alluded to prior to this segment. I think the art of the deal, and sometimes that can be thrown around in a cliche way, really does continue to apply to President Trump in a government shutdown, which in Washington has been massive, and we can touch on that as well, with people not getting paychecks, both Republicans and Democrats not being able to come to a deal, mostly because of the Democrats' decision to not have the continuing resolution that Speaker Mike Johnson proposed, for Trump to arrange the ceasefire, as we saw with Hamas and with Israel. Now this, to stop, or at least put measures in place to stop the fentanyl spread and submission into the United States, to get those rare gems and gemstones and things that the United States is in need of, and the soybean tariffs as well. I think Scott Bessent is also largely responsible for this success. And as he himself has said, the 100% tariffs on China are off the table. They are having dialogue. And that is a step in the right direction that we have not seen in quite some time. And while we have a lot of domestic problems with our government on Capitol Hill, which again we should discuss, the president is making sure everything he can do internationally he is doing. So I think this is a step in the positive direction. How long it will persist, we will see. But China is the biggest adversary or negotiator we will deal with on the world stage, and we're seeing progress here. That's a good thing.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, David Brody here.
Yeah.
Let me go to the shutdown. You mentioned it over the weekend. We got Republicans' favorite Democrat. That would be John Fetterman. Boy, they love him now. He says it's time to put his party, it's time for the party to put America first rather than their own party. Take a look at this.
I'm in a minority that I think it's wrong to shut our government down in this situation right now. And now, so for me, and there's things that I strongly believe in too on the Democratic side, but I'm always going to vote country over party. I'm always going to vote for paying for the military over my party and those things, because I think that's what's appropriate right now. The direction where my party's going, I mean, won't see, but I can control my vote and my voice, and that's exactly where I am. And I'm going to call balls and strikes. And it's an easy choice to pick my country over the party, especially in circumstances like this.
Britt, I never thought I'd put common sense and John Fetterman in the same sentence, but yet I have done that this morning. Your take?
It's wild to hear him say that, to have the reaction of, oh my gosh, yes, that's so revolutionary. Like, how is he the only Democrat really coming forward and saying that? Now, we've seen John Fetterman stand with Trump and stand with Republicans and go a little bit more moderate while he's been in office than other elected officials. But he's right. Listen, guys, I went over to Southwest DC to a Capital Food Bank food drive this past weekend. It was lined with hundreds of people, okay? They estimate that a third of the Washington, D.C. area, a third of the population has struggled to afford groceries and food in the last year. We know prices have gone up. That was one of the reasons that President Trump was elected. And so now it's crunch time. People are getting their paychecks. When we first discussed this and I came on air, I even said casually, that's my dog agreeing, that this has happened before. It will end soon. We are on day 27. The longest one, I believe, you guys, was 35, 39 days. And there is no discussion in sight. And as many problems as there are to fix with Obamacare, I don't see that in a couple days being improved. So for Fetterman to come out and say that, I think it's at least a good thing. He's one of 3 Democrats to have voted with Republicans on Thursday, but they are still shy of the 60 votes in the Senate. And there are many people I know here that are worried. They don't have that much in savings. They're missing the paycheck. We've discussed the military and possibly some outside donations, but hardworking people should not be put at risk and without money because our government cannot come to a bipartisan agreement. So it is very serious in this area, and the effects are being felt.
Britt, I'm going to start circulating a petition calling on all Senate Democrats to wear hoodies and shorts until the government is reopened. Maybe they will get a page out of the Fetterman book and come to their senses. Want to get back, though, to President Trump's trip to Asia really quickly. Obviously, a lot is being made of the trade deal that is being brokered between the United States and China. But it seems to me that even a bigger part of this trip is to secure that region, to secure the Indo-Pacific region from China and its advances, and to make sure that the alliances with the Japans, with the South Koreas are really strong, particularly Japan, which now has a brand new prime minister.
Absolutely. We saw a lot of progress in the summer, in July. Several acquaintances and contacts I have went over with the State Department for their push into negotiation, introduction into Japan. That is a huge power player in the region, as you just mentioned. Cambodia and Thailand to ease tensions there, to stop any conflict. That also is a part of this. So it's great, Terrence, you mentioned that, because it's not just our personal negotiation dealings with China, which are massive. It's that entire fluctuation or possibility of it in the Southeast part of the world. So this has the reach into those areas. And I think that if we can have any sort of semblance of peace, that is a good thing. You guys mentioned again earlier with this topic, look, even if it's 6 months, that's more than we had previously. And of course, there's no certainty, just like Hamas and Israel. It's something that constantly has to be negotiated on, discussed, met with. But I believe Secretary Marco Rubio with the Department of State is doing that. And we're seeing that with Scott Bessent and everything that is going on in this international trip right now. Now, if we could only just get our own government to be working, I think we'd be batting 1,000. But it's a little turbulent, and the Commanders played tonight, so that's going to be turbulent. But I am here, and I will continue to comment and report on all of it.
Don't end with depressing news. Oh my gosh.
Hey, it's not, the Jets got to win, so
yeah,
things can happen. Miracles can happen.
Miracles.
But this has been a success for the administration for sure with this trip.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Britt, always good to talk to you. We, of course, will be checking back with you throughout the week as more develops. Good to talk to you. Appreciate you.
You too.
I sound like my grandmother. Appreciate you. All right, the tax extension deadline may have passed, but for millions of Americans, the real trouble is just beginning. If you happen to miss the October 15th deadline, or if you owe back taxes, well, the IRS is really ramping up enforcement. Every day you wait, only makes things worse. Here's the harsh reality. The IRS can charge a penalty of 5% per month up to 25% of your total tax bill just for not filing. That's in addition to what you already owe. Here's the good news, though. There's still time for Tax Network USA to help. If you're self-employed or if you're a business owner, even if your books are a mess, they've got you covered. Tax Network USA specializes in resolving financial chaos and getting you back on track fast. With tools like property seizures, bank levies, and wage garnishments, the IRS is applying pressure at levels we haven't seen in years. It's not too late to regain control. Your consultation is 100% free, and in one short call and a few simple questions, the experts over at Tax Network USA can determine how much you can save. It's as simple as calling 800-905-8000 or visiting tnusa.com/RAV. Let Tax Network USA help before the IRS makes the next move. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back here on American Sunrise, Vice President J.D. Vance had some choice words for New York City mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani. He was responding to what the socialist candidate said about the real victims of 9/11. You definitely don't want to miss what he had to say. It's coming out.